30th of September, Rabbi Levitt, Pele Yoetz.
Okay. And so we just read the last paragraph of Merirus, which started on page 115 and goes on to page 116. On page 116, he quoted a pasuk in Koheles that is the source for his point that he wants to make over here. He's making the point that a person has to exhibit the proper feeling and the proper emotion at the appropriate time. He says at a time of joy, he should be joyous. At a time of sadness, he should be sad. And in order to do that, he says he should think the timely thoughts. Think about why this time is a time of joy, and then that will hopefully inspire his heart to be joyous. And the same thing for a time of sadness. And this pasuk that he's quoting is from Koheles.
It doesn't make sense to me, though.
Okay, so let's see what it is that it says over here. In the English, he translates
Oh, hold it. I'm not in Kohelet. That's the problem.
Oh.
That's a problem.
I know you're in Eicha, right?
Yeah, so where's Kohelet? I thought
You're Eicha.
Oh, okay.
Right, because
oh yeah, this is the song that was a rock and roll song made popular.
Everything turn.
Blue nose.
Okay.
I was trying to see what the pasuk in Eicha 3:1 had to do with what we were talking about. I couldn't think of it.
You mean to say that there's a rock and roll song about a pasuk in Koheles?
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
a time to be sad, a time to be joyful, something like that.
Wow.
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Yeah, the Birds also did it.
Very interesting. Wow. That's interesting.
See how far Torah goes?
Yeah.
To other religions, I guess, other nations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so our translator here, I didn't look it up in the Hebrew edition, but he quotes Koheles chapter 3, the first verse. There's a time for all desires. So that's correct. That's what this pasuk here says. The first pasuk in Koheles, it says L'kol zman be'es, L'kol chayfetz tachas hashamayim. For every time, for every period, there is a for every desire, tachas hashamayim, under the heaven. So just take a look at the
Pasuk 4. I mean, we're talking about joyfulness and sadness.
Yeah.
If you look at Pasuk 4, it says a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to wail and a time to dance. So I would think that's almost more appropriate for what he was just writing about.
Right. So why you want to know why it is that he introduced his citation of Koheles with the first pasuk?
Right.
Let's just make sure that he did so in the Hebrew version. I would assume that he did. Yeah, that's what he says. Uksiv Koheles eis l'kol chayfetz. And then he says, Be'idan chedva, be'idan atzivusa. Interesting. Okay, so for some reason he didn't want to quote the words of the pasuk in Lashon HaKodesh. he translates them into Aramaic, but it's the same
Oh.
point.
That's interesting.
Eis l'kol chayfetz. There's a time for every chayfetz, for every desire. What does Rashi say about this? L'kol chayfetz, l'kol davar, kol advarim kruim chafatzim, b'lashon Mishnah. Kol hadvarim, all dvarim, all matters are called chafatzim in the language of the Mishnah. Oh, so actually now Rashi, in order to explain what that means, you have to take a look in the Gemara in Shabbos. He quotes the Gemara in Shabbos about this. You see that the Mishnah uses the word chayfetz, and it means kol hadvarim. But that word devorim itself is needs a translation. What is the what is it referring to? Oh, in any case, maybe we'll just we see that, in other words, that all of the matters that are mentioned in this section over here in Koheles, and the one that our pasuk, Eis Livkos, there's a time to cry, the Eis Lischok, it's a time to laugh, Eis Safod is a time to eulogize, Eis Rakod is a time to dance. So those are called chafetzim. Shlomo Melech calls them chafetzim, and Rashi just sends us to the Gemara in order to explain why it is that it's called chafetzim. He says really it means devarim, because that's what you see that in the Mishnah in over there in Shabbos, in Masechah Shabbos. So all these things, all these matters, the matter of weeping, the matter of crying, the matter of dancing, the matter of all these things, they have an ace. They have an ace. What does it mean, ace? And what is it? What is the difference between the word ace and the word zman?
Ooh.
They both seem to mean the same thing. There's a certain time for this. There's a time for that. But Shlomo Melech uses these two different words over here.
That's a good question.
So Rashi over here in the first pasuk, L'kol Zman, he says, Al Yismach Osef V'hon Mihevel Ki im achshav hu biado od yershuhu tzadikim El shadayin lo hegia hazman Ki l'kol davar yesh zman havua matai yiyeh. So Rashi says that maybe you have the translation over there of the Rashi into English. I'll just translate it as I see it. The one who amasses wealth, mehevel from vanity and nothingness, he shouldn't be overly happy with his accomplishment. Ki im achshav hu biado, because even though right now he happens to have this wealth in his hand, od yershuhu tzadikim, it will the time will come when it will be inherited by tzadikim. So what about this? What about now? El shadayin lo hegia hazman. The zman has not arrived for that reality to come into the world yet. That's and the ki l'kol davar, because that's what Shlomo Melech is saying over here. For every matter that there is that Hashem wants to be in the world, yesh zman kavua, there is a time for it that Hashem fixes it. Matai yiyeh, when it will come to be. So that's what Zman is. There's no Rashi over here about ace. That's too bad. Okay. It's interesting that actually all of the things that Shlomo Melech mentions after this first pasuk, he says it's an ace for all these things. Ace in our pasuk Daled, ace livkos, a time to cry. Ace lischok, a time to laugh. That Shlomo Melech describes as an ace. So, okay. Oh, so now, do we have any Rashi over here on this pasuk over here? Ace livkos. Rashi says ace livkos, b'teisha ba'av. That is the time to cry, says Rashi. The time to cry is on Tisha B'av. Oh, what about any other time of the year? It's not the ace to cry. There might be something chas v'shalom lo aleinu that could happen to a person but it hasn't yet, the zman of that hasn't yet come into the world yet. So it's not it hasn't materialized yet. But that is that's the ace for crying is Tisha B'av. Then he says ace lischok. When is the ace lischok? The time to be joyous and be filled with laughter. Le'asid lavo, says Rashi. The time for schok, for true laughter, for true schok, that is le'asid lavo, shenemar, oz yemale schok pinu. We say in Shir Malos, at that time, in the time of asid lavo, then our mouths will be full with schok. Right now, it's not full. It can't be full. Okay. So, okay. Eis afod, b'mei evel, v'eis rikod, b'chasanim v'kalos. So the time for eulogy is in the days of mourning, and the time for dancing is with a chasan and with chasanim and with kalos. At a chasna, or maybe even also at a shever brachas. That also is the time for rikudim. Okay. Oh, can you see me still?
Yep.
Let's get back the picture. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay. So a little bit of exploration into the pasuk in Koheles. So now when you hear that song, you have a whole new insights.
That's true.
Okay, now we go to, after we did merirut, now we go to metikut, the opposites. Okay, we go to Lud to read metikut.
How much sweeter than honey is a person whose tongue speaks soft words and whose palate is filled with sweet delights. The spirit of the omnipresent and the spirit of men are delighted by such an individual. His words are heeded, and he increases peace with all men, his wife, and his family members. A gentle response dispels anger, especially in these generations which do not accept authority. An angry man gains nothing but his anger. Would that it be that people would listen to a voice that whispers, with gentleness and affection. As the commentaries explained, the verse, reprove a wise man and he will love you. That is, a person should say to another, you are a wise man. Such a thing is not fitting for you. This is the way in which a rabbi should conduct himself with the inhabitants of his city, a man towards his friend, a father to his children, and a husband towards his wife. Even if they do troubling things or speak harshly to him, one should answer with a gentle response, sweet lips, and happy countenance. By doing so, he will offer his cheek to his offender and be sated with shame. He must do that which is incumbent upon him. And it is written, your gentle tongue will break a bone. This is a fundamental principle, the potion of life. A person should be good unto heaven and good unto other human beings. It will be good for him in this world and good for him in the world to come. Praiseworthy is the man who does this, for he is a vessel that holds blessing and peace.
Bracha and shalom. Okay, very good. Let's take a look at this pasuk in Mishlei. Very novel interpretation of this pasuk from the Pele Yoetz.
Mishlei 25:15.
Mishlei 9:8. Okay.
Oh, 9:8. Oh, okay.
Okay, so if you see this pasuk over here, it's in chapter 9, and it's pasuk ches 8. As generally we find in Shlomo Melech's Mishlei, we've got two parts of the pasuk, and oftentimes they're the seemingly opposite of one another. And this is an example over here. First part of the pasuk is al tochach leitz. Don't give tochacha to a leitz. Pen yisna'eka, lest he hate you for it. Not going to accomplish anything. All he's going to do is hate you for telling him this. So there's no point in causing unwanted hatred. So don't give a leitz tochacha. Then the next part of the pasuk says, but hochach lechacham. You should give tochacha to a chacham. Give him tochacha v'yeha haveka, and he will love you for the tochacha that you gave him.
Hmm.
So the Pele Yoetz has a very novel interpretation of the pasuk, not like I translated. The Pele Yoetz says that it's not saying to give tochacha to a person who is a chacham. It's saying that when you give tochacha to somebody, you should treat them like they're a chacham. And how do you do that? By the what you this because you tell him, like the Pele Yoetz says, you tell him, you are a chacham. You're a wise person. You're an understanding individual. Uh, you are someone with your wisdom and your understanding. This what you have done is not befitting a person of your understanding and your wisdom. So, in the way that you have given him tochacha, you've really given him a great compliment, and you're showing that you regard the person very, very. You regard him very well. So, like that, says the Pele Yoetz, that's the metikus that will allow you to give the tochacha that needs to be given. Okay, very good. Now we go on to the next section. Yeah, we got the next section over here. Malamde Tinokos. Okay. And we go back to Mayor. Please.
Okay. Says Milande Tinoko, Torah teachers. If teachers of Torah serve with total dedication, how goodly is their portion? Regarding such individuals, the verse in Daniel proclaims, the intelligent ones will shine like the radiance of the firmament. However, this requires great effort and diligence from morning until evening. I am concerned that there is no righteous individual in the world that performs his task properly and whose soul is innocent of stealing from the community. Behold, our sages, and Baba Batra said, Rav Shmuel Bar Shelat had a garden which he did not see for 13 years. They, in Tanit, also remarked about Abba Hilkiah, who was a day worker, that he did not respond to any salutation in order not to desist from his employer's work, even for a moment. Which individual is so completely engaged in his work and is innocent of not dozing, sleeping, or ever being distracted from his labor? A man who fears the word of God and is concerned for his life that he should not be included in. Cursed is a man who performs the work of God with dishonesty. Should make a condition with his employers that they permit him to attend to his personal matters during his time of rest and sleep a little bit during the long summer days. This way, he will have at least some relief, and it will not be said regarding him, we earn our bread with our lives, literally. It is better that a man starve and give away all of his worldly possessions to spare his life. In any case, a man must do everything within his power and not waste even a moment. A teacher should work with all his strength and the sweat of his brow to instruct his students in the proper way.
Okay. So it's what it seems like is that, I mean, first he starts talking about the Torah teachers, and he mentions this Bava Basra, which is about Rav Shmuel Bar Shilas, who was a teacher of Torah. He wasn't a day worker, and it says he didn't see his garden for 13 years, presumably because he was so involved in his. Like to look up that Gemara and see exactly what it's talking about over there. But then he goes on to just talk about someone who is a worker, and he's supposed to work for an employer, and he works according to the day. He mentions Abba Chilkia, who was a schir yom. He was a day worker. He would get paid according for a day's work, and like that, he shouldn't. He goes on to say even a person like that, he's not a Torah teacher, but he's supposed to be working for somebody, and he's not supposed to waste time for his own affairs when he's supposed to be working for his employer. So that's the story with that. So it spills over into even if just a job which is not a job involved in teaching Torah or something like that. Also he's not allowed to take time off for his own personal affairs unless that's part of his agreement. He even says he should make an agreement like that with the employer, that he can attend to his personal matters during the time of work, and even to rest and sleep a little bit during long summer days. That's they have a nap on the job, huh? But if he makes up such a tanai, such a condition with his employer, and his employer accepts it, he says, "Oh well, I'll pay you $10 less." So he says, "Okay, fine." So that's what it is. But like that, he's not stealing, and so he's not doing anything wrong when he's sleeping on the job, because that time is not time that he's supposed to be on his job. Okay. So now we'll go to the next paragraph. Go to the next paragraph. Intellectual development. When we go to Lou to read, please.
Intellectual development should not be the exclusive goal. Rather, the study of Torah is good when complemented by noble conduct. The way of life is set by the admonitions of discipline. Students should be taught all the laws related to proper conduct, commonplace rituals, and the reasons of the mitzvahs. They should be educated and trained to serve as a chazan, to pronounce the special wedding and mourning blessings, the blessing for the host, and similar things, so that they should be comfortable in a communal setting. The students should gradually ascend the ladder of learning. One who ascends without gradual development will surely fall and not succeed. The teachers must pay no heed to the fathers who do not possess either pedagogical understanding or wisdom, and desire that their sons should immediately ascend the heights and learn Gemara. A building without a firm foundation will be carried away by the wind.
Well, yeah, different schools have different times that they start teaching the boys Gemara. There's different views about it. He doesn't give a specific time per se, but he says it shouldn't be before. It should not be at the expense of teaching them proper conduct and how to act properly. That should be just as important as the learning of Gemara or Mishnayos or Chumash. And that's supposed to be learned from the Rebbe. So that's the job of the Lamdei Tinokis. And he says that it's interesting. He says the fathers he shouldn't listen to the fathers because they don't know they don't know what teaching is about. They don't know what Chachma is about. All they want is that their sons should immediately become Torah scholars, Talmudic scholars, and learn Gemara at the earliest opportunity. He says he says this is not correct. This is not the right way to do. It's because a building without a foundation will be carried away by the wind. Okay. And a round of applause for page 117.
Yay.
17. Oh, and by the way, I think we have to have a round of applause for Miriris and Matikos. Okay, now we go back to Meir. Please, this is the sequence of learning.
Okay, this is the sequence of learning. Students should initially be trained to read Tanakh quickly with vocalization and musical notes. Afterwards, they should learn the verb forms of Hebrew in such a manner that they are capable of speaking in the language and reading any book which they open without stumbling over their words. Then they should learn all of Tanakh with comprehension, and anything they learn which teaches a moral lesson should be emphasized to them. The teacher should chastise the students for wrongdoing and childish behavior. He needs to physically punish them. He should not strike them harshly or cruelly. He should only lightly hit them with compassion. The one who listens will obey. A verbal rebuke is better for an understanding child. A soft-spoken, open admonition is good. Then the teacher should accustom them to study the commentary of Rashi, initially with the simple approach. Excuse me. When they are familiar with the basic meaning of Rashi, the teacher should gradually delve deeper and expand their knowledge of Torah. The teacher should distance them from any sin and bad personality traits, and to promote their total perfection and adoption of upright and sterling character, especially that they should be bashful towards and respectful of all people. He should guide them in personality traits of a wise man and distance them from the characteristics of an illiterate person. A teacher should pour out his soul before God, that he should help him to the extent that each student will be the sapling of his planting and the work of his hands to bring glory to his name without any breach or exception. By doing all these things, a teacher will discharge his responsibility both to heaven and to men. Excuse me. People will say, fortunate is this individual who cultivated these holy saplings. A Torah teacher must treat everyone equally and not show favoritism to the wealthy. He must take care of the sons of the poor people, for Torah will come from them. These are a few of the proper ways that a teacher of children must adopt. A wise man will hear and increase instruction. He will rejoice in his students in this world, and he will exult in them in the world to come. There is no greater happiness in this world.
Okay. Very good. All right. So another paragraph. Go back to Lou. Nevertheless.
Nonetheless, the members of the community are obligated to supervise all of its public servants, especially the Torah teachers of children who are involved in divine service. They should not be so demanding of the teachers and forgive them if they are not doing their work in an optimal way, so that the teachers will not be punished because of them. If necessary, they should admonish them privately without anger or harsh words. Only pleasant words and a loving, sweet dialogue should be the tenor of communication as one man speaks to a friend. Is that the end of the paragraph, or should I continue?
Yeah, continue.
This is the proper nature of a good man, to speak gently, even with his employee and itinerant worker, and even if he is a Gentile. All the more so, one should speak kindly with Torah teachers, cousins, and other public servants who have troubles, pressures, burdens, and the responsibility of serving a community which they are incapable of totally satisfying. One person says it should be this way, and the next person says it should be done a different way. The public servants should suffer everything and be counted among those who are insulted, but do not insult, about whom it was written, and those who love him will be like the sun in its strength. They should learn from Moshe Rabbeinu, who carried the Jewish people, even though he did not fully satisfy them. On the other hand, the community members must be careful not to embitter them with harsh words, rebukes, and disparaging remarks. But God will fight their battles and exact retribution for their insult.
Okay. Okay, we go back to Meir to conclude this section on Malam de Tinokis.
Okay. So necessary to pay attention and provide them with an adequate salary in cash from week to week. The community must appoint teachers according to the needs of the students in such a way that each teacher will not have too many students or too many subjects to teach. The teacher should have a designated place, a quiet repose, in order that they will be able to do their work properly. People should not be concerned about the expensive cost. This mitzvah is even greater than the building of the Beit HaMikdash from Shabbat. It is worthy of providing protection and salvation from all misfortunes and tragedies, as well as bestowing a blessing.
Okay, so he quoted this Gemara in Shabbos. We don't have time to look up this Gemara in Shabbos, but just basically what the Gemara over there says, if I remember correctly, is it's talking about the fact that like the pasuk. You start off with the pasuk in Chumash. The pasuk in Chumash says that when they were building the Mishkan in the Midbar, so they would stop for Shabbos. So we see that that building the Mishkan, which is comparable to the Beis HaMikdash, it's not Docha Shabbos. It doesn't push off push aside the observance of Shabbos. You stop building the Mishkan, and then you cease from doing malacha when Shabbos comes. And so also, but I believe it says over there that if one is involved in the mitzvah of teaching, he's a malamed tinokus. He's a teacher of tinokus, so he should he should continue with that mitzvah, because the building of the Beis Hamikdash is not a docha his mitzvah of having to teach the tinokus, and so therefore you see, says the Pele Yoetz, the Gemara comes out that the mitzvah of teaching children is more important, is greater than the binyan of the Beis Hamikdash. So we see from there how important this activity is. Okay.
Okay, very good.
All the best to everybody. Have a great Shabbos.
Okay.
Everything
Bye,
good.
shalom.
Shabbos Shuvah.
Have a good Shabbos, everyone.
Yashikoyach.
And Sunday, we have normal schedule.
Sunday's a normal schedule. Yeah. Right.
All right.
Okay, very good.
Okay. All the best.